Nice to see all of you. It is a pleasure to have you here. We're going to talk about leadership skills for the 80s. One of the greatest experiences any of us can have is the experience of influence. To persuade somebody that we've got a good idea, to persuade somebody to buy a product or consider a service, to be able to influence somebody to a way of life, a product, an idea, a company, a corporation, an enterprise. Influence is one of the greatest of life's experiences. And I would like to talk about that in this series of lectures. The chance to influence somebody else, their thinking, their future, maybe their lives, is a great experience. And all the way from being a manager to an executive to being a parent, we all have in some respects the chance and the opportunity to influence somebody else. Now the key is to develop the skills to do it. There's one thing in doing it casually, another thing in doing it haphazardly, and the other is to do it on purpose by learning the skills. And that's what I'd like to cover in this series of lectures. Gathering the skills to help influence people to a way of thinking, to a product, to an idea, to an enterprise, or just to a better life. The skills of leadership. First of all, just in preliminary, let me just give you a list of what I hope you'll find in my series of lectures this time. Here's the list. Number one, sincerity. To accomplish something, especially in lecturing and listening, we have to start with sincerity. And I would assume you're sincere or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have made this effort and pushed past whatever you had to push past to get here. And I can appreciate that. So we first of all start with sincerity, and hopefully you'll find me sincere. I really have come by to bring value for your time and effort and consideration. But I've got a good note for you to make. Sincerity is not a test of truth. Sincerity is not a test of truth. We must not make the mistake of saying he must be right, he's so sincere. And the reason is, it's possible to be sincerely wrong. So we must not mistake sincerity for truth, because it is possible to be sincerely wrong. But hopefully you'll find me both sincere and truthful, because I wish to speak for you the truth. But you have to decide for yourself what is truth. But here's the key. Weigh sincerity on sincerity scales and weigh truth on truth scales. We don't weigh truth on sincerity scales. Next, I hope you'll find in our series two major things: ideas plus inspiration. If you want your life to change, here's the source of it all. Ideas plus inspiration. Now, ideas are not that far away. In fact, I've got a good phrase for you to consider. This will serve you well for the rest of your life. Everything you need is within reach. Everything you need is within reach. The ideas you need for life change or business change is within reading reach. It's within listening reach. There's probably a library not too far from you. The problem is, right, there's a library there, but most people drive by. Very few drive in. Poor Andrew Carnegie, right, set up all these libraries across the country thinking everybody would stop by. Saying, no, everybody's going to drive by. He thought sure they were going to stop in. Do you know how many people own a library card in the United States? 3%. And guess how much they cost? Nothing. Wow. But see, it's within reach. Now the key is, who's going to reach? There's a simple Bible phrase, and I'm an amateur on the Bible, but here's what it says. If you search, you will find. But it's very important to know that finding is reserved for the searchers. We don't find what we need, we find what we search for. Needing is not the prerequisite to getting value. You can't be a needer, you have to be a searcher. But if you'll search, if you'll try, if you'll go, if you'll listen, ideas are within reach. And ideas are life-changing. There's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. A business idea, a social idea, an investment idea, good health idea. All you need is just the refinement of an idea to make an impact on your life. Gather treasure, gather equity, gather wealth. Because it doesn't take much to make a significant difference as the time passes. You might draw a little circle. This is where you are. 10 years from now you could be here, or 10 years from now you could be here. And the difference in 10 years between here and here could be significant. in money and lifestyle, treasures, equity. In 10 years, an incredible difference, but right here, a small difference in the change of discipline, the change of thinking to start you on this journey versus this journey. Now, it's also very important intellectually to know whether or not you're headed this way or this way. And once you decide, 10 years from now, I think that the gathering of my intellectual and personal and spiritual and moral and economic treasure may not be that great, the key is to start right now making these changes to walk this new road. But here's what's exciting to me. Just a few daily disciplines makes a great deal of difference in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Just a few daily disciplines. And that's what I'd like to talk about in this series, just these few daily disciplines that make the difference, whether you wind up here or here. Good question. 10 years from now, you will surely arrive. The question is, where? We don't want to kid ourselves about where. We don't want to kid ourselves about the road we're walking. I had a day shortly after I met Mr. Schoaf called "Do Not Kid Myself Anymore Day." I don't want to go disillusioned anymore. You know, I was using the cross-finger theory back when I was 25, 24, 23. I finally decided that the cross-finger theory was not going to get me what I wanted. That isn't where the treasure lies. That I'm going to have to make sure which of these ways I'm headed. But a few reading disciplines and a few disciplines of mind and a few disciplines of activity, and you can make all the difference in the world whether you wind up here or whether you wind up here. Okay. But just a few changes. Sometimes we get the idea that we're doing about 10% and there's about 90% more that we need in order to make the difference for our fortune. And probably the opposite is true, right? We're doing enough things to have arrived here today. We're doing enough things to have bought and shared in the good life so far. And maybe all you need is that extra 5%, 10% of intellectual change, activity change, a refinement of discipline, a refinement of thought. And all we need is the ideas to make those simple changes. And the equity starts gathering in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I have a good comment for your notes. Now's the time to fix the next 10 years. Now's the time to fix it. Now, sometimes you have to come to grips with reality and with truth. That's what was good for me when I met Mr. Schoaf. I was 25 years old. He was 44 years old. And he brought me a wealth of experience, and he started asking me the tough questions. Big question, he said. Are you reading the books that's going to take you where you want to go in the next 5 years? Excellent question. So you want to make sure. I would assume for all of you, to get where you want to be in the next 5 years, you're either reading the right books or you're not. That's kind of a brilliant statement, right? You're either engaged in the disciplines or you're not. But here's what we don't want to engage in. Disillusion, right? Hoping without acting. You know, wishing without doing. So the key is to take a look and say, where am I? What could I do to make the changes, to make sure that I can take more certain daily steps toward the treasure I want, the mental treasure, the personal treasure, the spiritual treasure, the financial treasure. I don't want to make any errors. Now's the time to adjust my daily program to take me where I want to go. So hopefully I'll have some ideas to share with you that might help make just a few adjustments. And in lecturing for especially the last 16, 18 years, I've got some letters and some personal testimonies of people that have done such remarkable things with just a few suggestions that it is worth taking the time. And that's what I'm here for, to do a little coaching. A good note for you to take. We could all use a little coaching. When you're playing the game, it's sometimes hard to see it all. And if you just take a breather, take a little time out. That's what we're doing here in this lecture series. Take a little time out, listen to someone's experiences, which is what I want to share with you, my experiences, my ideas, and see if it might cause for you a little moment of correction so that you can make some changes that'll add up to some extra worth in the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. So, ideas, I hope you'll find here during this series. All kinds of ideas, health ideas, enterprise ideas, living the better life ideas, and primarily for this series, skills of leadership ideas, The next key word is inspiration. Hopefully you'll find some inspiration from this series. Inspiration is a mystery, why some people are inspired and some are not. Who knows what that mystery is? Emotional vitality. Some people have this incredible zest for life and an appetite for living well and doing well, and others seem to take the ho-hum attitude, let it slide, and hopefully it'll work out anyway. I don't know what the difference of that is. But it is exciting to watch people who are inspired. But I think the key to it all is self-motivation. Self-motivation. The guy says, boy, if somebody just come by and turn me on, hey, what if they don't show up? Right? You got to have a better plan for your life. Personal inspiration, drawing emotional vitality from life and the challenge, going for it. We all admire that. Hopefully you'll find some of that as we study together. And here's what I hope you'll find also during this series. Guidelines for translating response into results. I just want to share with you some of my insights, some of my experiences. I belong to a group that does business around the world. We've discovered a lot of ways and means, and methods, and ideas. I just want to share that with you from my own experiences and hope that it will serve as guidelines. But I'd like for the guidelines to translate response into results. Now, just a personal word. I don't know where I've caught you in this particular lecture series. Maybe this is springtime for you. You've got a new opportunity going and no telling what you're going to make of it, and you're all excited. I congratulate you for that. Maybe some of you, we've caught you in harvest time. If we knew your story, we'd let you give this lecture. I'd be happy to sit down, let you translate to us your story and your experiences and your success. Maybe you're celebrating, and maybe this series of lectures I've come along has caught you celebrating. Maybe this is the summertime for you, when sometimes the going is tough, and the weeds are attacking your garden, and the bugs are after your values. Summertime is an interesting time. It's not that easy to last from spring till fall. Summer's a test, and especially when the creditors are calling. We have a tendency to walk out in the field and say, grow, crop, grow. They are on me. So I don't know, maybe we've caught you in a testing time. Maybe this is challenging time for you, the summertime. Maybe I've caught you in winter. And I'm sure we've all had some of those winter times, sort of desperate times, decision-making times. Maybe I've caught you in this series at the fork of the road, and some of the decisions you make in the immediate future are going to have everything to do with your next 5 years, 10 years. And I've been to a few of those called forks in the road. I mean, which way do you go? What do you select now as your next path of opportunity? And maybe these are trying times for you. Winter can be a source of trial when the push is on and the press is on. So I don't know where I've caught you, but whatever season I've caught you in, I want to bring you value. That's my intent.